Hi everyone. I noticed on Blitsy today that they're featuring the Distress Glitters again by Ranger and Tim Holtz. So some had asked me if I've had the opportunity to use these glitters yet, and the answer is yes. I was able to use them on a card that I made, but the video turned out horrible. The card was adorable, but the video didn't turn out for me. So I thought I would just demonstrate them really quickly today with a new stamp that my friend Paige sent to me. And I thought what I would do is decorate her little dress and her shoes and her little hair bow and maybe these flowers with the Distress Glitters and show you how they can be used on even simple things like stamping projects. I've never been a really big fan of glitter because of the mess they leave behind, but I found these glitters really easy to use, and I'll show you how I've been using them on stamps. For the first step, I get some good quality cardstock. Today I'm using my Neenah cardstock in Solar White, super smooth, and I use the Memento ink. The reason why I'm using Memento ink is because I'm using my Copic markers to do the skin tones and the hair. So you don't want to use StazOn. Someone reminded me of that in a video. I was glad I saw that video the other day, or I may have forgotten. So make sure if you're going to use any alcohol markers, whether it's Spectrum Noir or the Copic markers, that you're using something like Memento ink and not StazOn. Do you ever have those crafting days where you are totally on or you are totally off? Well, I think today is my totally off day. I was trying to get this image stamped, which I finally got it stamped perfectly, but this was my first attempt and she has like no hair. And then this was my second attempt and she has no face. So sometimes I know this happens to other crafters, so I want to show you my setup that actually works and is almost guaranteed to give you a clear image stamp every single time. I got lazy and I didn't do all the steps, and that's why I ended up with stamp images like these. So the first thing I had to remedy is that I have a plastic table that I work on top of, and this tends to give in certain spots when you push down, so you don't get an even feel. So I end up having to put my wooden bamboo work space down. Then I also take this small piece of, you can either use foam, or this is like a little piece of styrofoam that comes in my Close to My Heart stamp packaging. This works wonders. Then I layer my paper on top of that. And then I'll use my Fiskars, I forget what this thing is called, but I love this thing. It works great. Put my stamp, ink my stamp on it, and then push it down. And it works absolutely perfect if I use this setup every time. So if you're having problems getting a nice, clear, sharp image stamped out, just work on your layers, get a nice, hard, firm surface that doesn't give when you push down, and use a little bit of foam underneath it, and it helps capture that image when you push down. So a while back when I got my Copic markers, I had created this art journal and just decorated the top with some bling and some words and a little bit of paint. And in here is where I keep my Copic marker chart of skin tones and hair tones, and I also keep a list of what works for different combinations. So for example, my favorite skin tone is the Fair with the E000, E00, E11, R20, and R00. So that's what I'm going to use for her face. And then for her hair, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do today. Maybe I'll do like the brunette with the E25, E31, and the E50. So it's always nice to have a little reference chart. And then this is a sheet that I had practiced on with some of those different hair combinations and skin tones when I first got my Copic markers. So that's just a quick little reference guide. You know, if you find a combination you like, make sure to write it down somewhere so that you can reference back at it, especially if you don't use your alcohol markers all the time. That way you don't forget what combinations worked well for you. Okay, so this video really is more about glitter than it is Copic coloring. So just to let you know, I'm not an expert on my Copic coloring, but what I really wanted to demonstrate is how fun it is to work with these distress glitters. So my favorite method so far has been using the glossy accents because it dries so quickly. But I like to have a bit of control with it. So I have a scrap sheet of paper up here, and I will just put a little bit of glue on it, and then I have a little brush that I use, and I just brush a little bit of glue into the area where I want to go. So I make sure my brush is damp, not soaking wet, but just where it has enough glue on it that it'll make my glitter stick when I put it on. So for her hair accents, I want to use the Seedless Preserves, and all I'm going to do is just put a little bit on that one little spot where I added this bit of glue. Now, one thing that's nice about these glitters and why they're so fast to work with is because you can use a heat tool with these glitters. It is all dependent upon the adhesive that you use. So Tim Holtz, when he demonstrates this, he uses glossy accents and this glitter because this is not a plastic glitter, so it will not melt. So I can apply a little bit of heat and I can keep moving on with my project. This next area of the dress is pretty big, so I don't want, when I put the glitter on, I don't want a whole bunch of white little specks to show through. So what I'm going to do is the distressed glitter that I'm going to use is in Pickled Raspberry. So before I put down my glitter, I'm going to go ahead and color that background with the Distress ink in the same color of Pickled Raspberry. Okay, so the last thing I have to work on are these two little flowers here, and I want the center of the flower to be orange, but I don't have an orange Distress glitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, they do make one, it's called Spice Marmalade, but it's one color I didn't buy because I didn't think I would use it. Now I have to go buy it, right? Anyway, if you don't have one, that's okay. I'm going to use this alcohol ink right here. In Sanguine, I guess is the color. And I'm just going to color the center of these little flowers right here. And then what I'll do is I'll use some of my Rock Candy Distress glitter on top of those two little spots. So I'll just add a little bit of glue and put this clear on top of those sections. So I'll do that first, and then I'll move on. And the petals I'm going to make with the mustard seed yellow. So I like my daisy here, but I lost some of my lines a little bit with my glue and glitter. So all I'm going to do is just take my little pen, and while the glue is still wet, go ahead and go in and clean up some of these edges so that the flower ends up being more defined and you still have that nice petal structure in between each petal of your flower. Okay, so here's the card all finished, and I hope you can see really how glittery and sparkly her little dress and shoes and the flower is. My laces I hold down with this golden gel medium, so you may still see it a little wet on here, so that's what that little white is, but it will dry completely clear. So all I did was take some pieces of trim that I got from Mon Ami Gabby on at the scrapbook convention this summer. The papers is from Sketchbook, which is a line by Amy Tangerine, and Susan sent that to me. Thank you so much, Susan. And then of course this stamp I just received from Paige. So one of my friends just came in town all the way from Bulgaria. She just flew in today. They've been Bible missionaries there for 5 years now. And this was a saying that her mother-in-law is very determined for her to do, to stop and smell the flowers. They want her to just relax and take it easy by the pool. And so we're going to do a lot of that over the next 2 weeks. So I wanted to make sure to make a special little card for her to welcome her back for her visit. They'll be here for 2 weeks. So thank you everyone for the little items that you gave me, and check out Blitsy.com. They have all of these distress glitters available, and they are so easy to work with. And I don't know if you watched while I was cleaning as I worked. This glitter is very easy to work with. It doesn't go flying all over the place. in a million directions. When you try to funnel it back into the container, it goes into the container. It is very little mess. I usually hate glitter, but this particular glitter, I love it, and I really do enjoy working with it. So check it out. It's on Blitsy.com this week. I have the link posted below. Thanks for watching.